My battery is flashing at me and has been flashing at me for like 5 minutes. I tried to find my spare one, but I can't find it. So we just gotta hope. I have a nice hot cup of tea here. Black, of course. Welcome to the channel. This is the first video that I am filming and I couldn't be more excited. So today we are doing a what I am currently reading. Some of these books I'm nearly finished. I only have a couple chapters left. Some of these books I've read the first few pages of, and some of these books I started over in August, September's time, and I just haven't really read them. So let's start with the book that I am closest to finishing, which is Acres of Diamonds. I don't know if you can really consider this a book. It is 63 pages long. The writing is very large. I'm on page 37. And basically, I don't really know how to sum this book up. Basically, it's about finding happiness in what you already have. So basically, this guy is giving a speech, is what it seems like, and it's just a book of that speech. So he tells a story of somebody who, a prophecy gets told that he's going to find acres of diamonds, so he sells off his property and goes and dies without finding acres of diamonds, and the person who he sold his land to ends up finding the diamonds on his land. So I'm almost done this one. I don't know. We'll see how it ends. Next up, I'm currently reading Growing in Grace. This one is a daily devotional. I'll be reading it until the end of December, just Monday to Friday. It's quite short, but you know, gotta spend time with God at some point, so that's what this is for. A book that I picked up a while ago, haven't gotten around to reading it, but I'm actually currently enjoying it, is Broken People by Sam Lansky. I am on chapter 5, and it's like a just under 300 page book. Basically, it's about this guy who can do open soul surgery. So we've heard of open heart surgery, but he just, over the course of a weekend, sits you down, does open soul surgery on you, and fixes everything that's wrong with you over the weekend. And at the end of the weekend, you're basically a completely new person with no problems. And so this guy is an aspiring writer. He wrote one book, was very successful, and he's kind of stuck now. So he goes to this dinner party, meets this person who's talking really highly of this open soul surgeon, and yeah, it's just kind of the story behind that. I would like to finish it by the end of the year, but I just haven't really been prioritizing it because I was reading other books. The next one is Unwind by Neal Shusterman. This is a series. My roommate lent me it, and I am on page 24. I don't think that's right. I'm on chapter 2. Let's say that we're on chapter 2. And basically this is about, it's a dystopian novel where basically from the ages of, I think it's 12 to 16, 13 and 18, you can get your children unwound. So if you don't enjoy having your child, you can get them unwound, which means that 99.99% of them gets donated off, and they don't consider this murder because parts of your child gets to live on. And abortions are illegal in this society, and yeah, it's on that. I haven't obviously read it. Sounds really interesting. A very slow build, so that's kind of where we're at. Would love to read and finish this after I finish some of the other books that I'm kind of focusing on. And yeah, and then on my Kindle, I love this thing. It is immaculate. One of the best purchases I have made my entire life. It's just loading. Next up on my Kindle, I am reading Anchored, which is an urban fantasy. It's part of a series. I am on chapter 3 in this one, and basically in this book, this girl lives 2 different lives. Her dream self is this magical warrior, and her earth self is this girl who's just kind of living a normal life. And eventually she finds out that if she dies in her dreams, or if anything happens in her dream, it factors into her real life. So far it's quite interesting. It took a little bit to kind of get a grasp on, but I am enjoying it. Haven't really gotten around to reading it lately. I haven't really picked up my Kindle since September, but there's a reason for that, and that's because I discovered Libby. The other book that I'm currently reading on my Kindle is the Dragon Blood collection. It's a trilogy as far as I understand, and it is weird. It's set sometime in the future after the world has kind of crumbled and been rebuilt, and I am only on chapter 2 of the first novel in this series, and yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. So far, so good, I guess. Again, haven't picked it up, and it's on my Kindle, so really haven't picked it up. And then on Libby, which is the book that, like, the books that I've currently actually been actively reading, I have been reading 2 on here, and number 1 is A Deadly Education, which I didn't know was a series, so that's why I started it, thinking that it was just a standalone. It is not. There are follow-up novels to it. I am a little confused currently. It had no build-up, had no world building or anything. It just kind of jumped right into the story, which I'm fine with, but okay, so I just threw the charger on for like under 10 minutes. So hopefully we can get through this. Deadly Education, yeah, there's no world building or anything. We're just kind of thrown into story, which normally I'd be okay with, but I just feel like I'm kind of going in blind. I have no connection to these characters, and it really feels like I'm supposed to care about them, but at this point I'm just kind of confused. So I did Google it. I have a little bit more background, and I am enjoying it. And finally, last one is Ready Player One, which, if you've seen the movie, is fantastic. And the framing is definitely off, but I had to switch cameras. Yes, Ready Player One, it is a series, so if you've seen the movie, it's very similar to that, but the world building in it and just like the writing in it is so good. Yeah, I'm slowly pitching away at it. It reminds me a lot of J.R. Tolkien's writing, where it's just there's so much to kind of digest, and not in a bad way. It's not boring or anything or slow, but it's just like comparing it to the world that we live in today versus what this author has come up with is incredible, and it just takes a lot to kind of like digest and comprehend. And so with that in mind, and just kind of like all the other books that I have on the go, yeah, it's quite the novel. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to look at Ready Player 2 here when I can get my hands on it. And yeah, it's gonna be great. And yeah, those are all the books that I'm currently reading, all 8 of them. But yeah, I'm very excited because I really got into reading again this year. I used to be quite the avid reader where I'd read a book a night type of a thing, and I lost that over the years when I went to university and that kind of thing. It's really hard to read for pleasure when you're kind of given a task, but now that I can kind of read whenever I want, whatever I want, I have quite the library, and this isn't it, so I will do a bookshelf tour, and I think I'll do a books that I'm excited to read, and all the books that I've read this year, and all that jazz. And I think I might do reviews for each book as well. So yes, that is all I have for you today. Sorry, this was awful, but on the bright side, we can only go up from here. So, see you next time.